Honestly, the flipping Prime Minister's quoted somewhere today saying he wants homes to be almost a right. And what does he expect? How can people buy a house when interest rates have gone up 14 months in succession?
House prices coming down, good news or bad news? It's one of the perennial debates, isn't it, across the country, and certainly in the GBNews newsroom. We've got so many fantastic young producers in this company. A lot of them are trying to buy their own home for the first time, and they can't, even though they've got fantastic jobs in the media. They're seasoned professionals with great qualifications. So it used to be the case that house prices going up was great news, the feel-good factor. But now I know a lot of people, and even GB News viewers and listeners, will be thinking house prices coming down. That's great news. Maybe my kids finally got a chance of getting on the housing ladder. Over the summer, there has been a lot of bad news about the housing market if you're somebody who wants house prices to keep rising. And there's more today. Let's have a look at it. I've got the scores on the doors here.
Have you got a graphic, Lee?
An on-the-money graphic.
Hey, we like your
Scores are in. It's almost like it's all scores are in catchphrase, isn't it? So the Nationwide, we heard last week, they reported the sharpest fall in house prices in July in 14 years. And now we've heard from Zoopla, the property website, on their estimates, sales of houses are to fall 21% during 2023. That's a huge fall.
Huge.
And that will be the lowest number of sales, of housing sales, this is houses and flats across the UK, in a decade. So that is big news as well. As you say, Andrew, we've had 14 interest rate rises since December 2021. That's pushing up mortgage costs, particularly for those people who are coming off fixed-rate mortgages. Ultra-low rates from 3 or 4 years ago, and now they have to remortgage, massive increases in their mortgage payments. And the next MPC meeting, what's that? That's the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of England that decides interest rates. That will be on Thursday, September the 21st. And despite my advice, Bev and Andrew, I think we're going to see another rate rise.
But we might see another big fall in inflation. We've seen that food prices are coming down at last.
We might see another fall in inflation, but I don't personally think those 9 economists on the Bank of England's MPC, including the Governor, Andrew Bailey, I don't think they've got the kind of intellectual grit and determination to say, hold on, guys, let's just hold interest rates. Let's allow the impact of these interest rates to feed through into the economy. It generally takes 12 to 18 months for it to have an effect because they were so slow to start raising interest rates at the beginning, because they were so remiss about inflation. The warnings from people like myself in 2021, they're going to keep raising interest rates to try and salvage their credibility.
You know who this story is good news for about people not moving house? Builders. I've been getting some quotes at the moment because I want to have some work done on the house. It's a total headache. But anyway, and the builders are telling me they are working non-stop because people aren't moving. They're renovating their own houses at the moment.
I think that's exactly
Kitchen
right.
sales, furniture sales, those I think will stay quite buoyant.
And it also avoids the huge prohibitive stamp duty they have to pay, which is outrageous.
Give me a one-hand economist, said Napoleon, because with economics, it's always on the one hand and on the other. And I introduced this little section by saying, look, house prices are coming down, home sales are definitely slowing, but that's good news for a big chunk of the population. I'm a property owner. You know, I'm lucky enough to have got on the housing ladder in the 1990s, and I actually think house prices need to fall. We need to let the air out of this market. We need to build more homes. The average home now is 7-8 times average earnings. It's 12 to 15 times in London and the South East. When I bought my first property, it was 3 to 4 times. Very, very unaffordable. And lots of young people are tearing their hair out. Even a couple, a professional couple, finding it really hard to buy any kind of home.
Just explain what Michael Gove has done this week. Significant move all to do with the EU regulations, the environment, and this what can and can't go in the water caused by house building, which could mean we could be seeing an extra 100,000 houses being built a year.
Well, Michael Gove is trying to ease the kind of environmental restrictions that apply to planning law so people can get planning permission to build homes. And, of course, that sent a lot of left-wing newspapers into, you know, spasms of
rivers
concern.
are having all this stuff dumped in them by water companies.
And I think there is something in that. But Gove is trying to ease those planning restrictions in order to get more homes built. I would say, and I've told him this personally, he's actually barking up the wrong tree here.
Right.
The problem for my money is not that it's too hard to get planning permission, though it is hard to get planning permission. The problem is that lots of big house builders are sitting on planning permissions. They get the planning permissions, so small builders can't get them. Small builders build quickly because they need the cash flow. The big builders don't need the cash flow. They get planning permissions and don't use them. Andrew, there are over 1 million planning permissions outstanding that aren't being used.
And they're sitting on it.
40% of planning permissions given in London and the South East never get built.
Why? Because they want the price of the value of the land
because
to increase?
They want to restrict the number of homes. They would deny it. They want to restrict the number of homes. I've dubbed it contrived scarcity in order to keep prices high.
So they're rigging the market.
It was ever thus. That they would deny that. What I would say to them, the house builders, is that the Competition and Markets Authority is now investigating whether or not there really is competition among our big house builders.
Cartel.
And they're not... They would deny that. That would be illegal.
They're all the flipping same, aren't they?
They would deny.
Oil companies.
They would deny that, but the CMA is investigating. It's a point of fact, both our house building industry and our supermarkets as we speak.